Pandit Naresh. We are going to have the national anthem of both India and Trinidad and Tobago. And before, in 1845, there was no Jana Gana Mana. The national anthem of Hindustan at the time was Jai Krishna Hare, Shri Krishna Hare, Dukhiyo ko dukh dur rakho, Jai Jai Krishna Hare. But today, after partition, India has a national anthem. So I would like you all to stand to the singing of the Indian national anthem. Let's have it.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय है भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जल ही तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे चाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय है भारत भाग्य विधाता जय है जय है जय है जय 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 Islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land, we pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Thank you. You may take your seat now. I now introduce to you the MC that will take you through the first part of this program, Mr. Hansley Hariajoda.
I didn't see anywhere where my on my birth paper where Harry is mentioned. Before we start the official part of the program, and I'd just like to ask at least a member of the Cedros committee to come forward and just present some tokens to the members of the religious faith. Pandit Naresh, well, you'll have to give yourself one, obviously. Imam Din. Reverend Paul. Thank you very much. God bless you. the Honorable Opposition Leader, former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Kamla Persad, SC. First Citizen of Siparia, Dr. Glenn Rabadar Singh, Chairman of the Siparia Regional Corporation, Councillor Shankar Tilak Singh. Of course, forgive me for not mentioning Mr. Bissessar as well. Pardon that. Member of Parliament for Princess Town, Mr. Barry Padarath. Member of Parliament for Faizabad, Dr. Lakram Bodo. And Member of the Upper House of Representatives, Senator Ubika. Welcome, sir. Specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the annual Cedros Indian Cultural Committee Indian Arrival Day Celebrations 2018. Please give them a round of applause. The reason why I'm here, I'm an adopted son of the community of Cedras. And I find this place, there's only one word I could possibly describe about Cedras: incredible Cedras. The National Trust over the last couple of months, the National Trust and many people have been coming here by bus to come and see what is so special about this incredible community. Cedras is steeped in history. As a matter of fact, I've asked the National Trust to give consideration to naming Cedras in its entirety as a National Heritage Site. They were completely blown away by the rich history of Cedras and also the incredible people who came out of this community. Actually, to my right, you'll see one of them here, prominent attorney at law, Mr. Devesh Maharaj, who of course is a cousin of Trinidad's greatest thespian and Member of Parliament and Government Minister, Mr. Ralph Maharaj, who also came from this community. The Dole Singh family, Ranji Dole Singh, former assistant DPs in World War II. Dog tags were still found there from World War II. And there are also graves of the first set of French settlers who came to Trinidad under the settler population. There are graves there that are over 200 years old. But what is most interesting is that that area was also one of the earliest sites of the settlement of East Indians in Trinidad and Tobago. In addition to that, I only discovered last night that the first Indian arrival celebrations in the history of our country, and they're never given credit for it, took place right here in Cedras. As an adopted son, I'm certainly proud to call this place my second home. And spending time among the people in Cedras, you walk along here, it's one of the only and probably the last places where people still say good morning and good afternoon, whether they know you or not. The level of kindness that you witness in this community is astounding. The old values, the values of old that we once treasured here in Trinidad and Tobago is very much alive and well preserved in this incredible community we call Cedras. Take the time out, spend the time during the course of the day, and I'm sure many of you will get a greater understanding of how marvelous this place is. Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, and we know that our honorable opposition leader and former Prime Minister, Mrs. Bissessar, has several engagements, we've decided to shift things around a little bit because I've been told by members of the media this is going to be their top story. Well, that's good of you. You're finally understanding your job. Our next speaker needs absolutely no introduction. In the history of our independence since 1962, no other individual has given Trinidad and Tobago the quantum leap in national development that we've witnessed. The National Spatial Policy was developed under her watch. The largest movement towards the addressing of rural neglect happened under her watch. As the Education Minister, the greatest and widest expansion of education throughout Trinidad and Tobago happened under her watch. She served as the Minister of Legal Affairs, as Education Minister, and is considered, and arguably, Trinidad and Tobago's finest Prime Minister. It is an honor that she has taken the time out to come and spend it among this humble little community here, a community that loves her immensely and dearly. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome, to address us here, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, Senior Counsel.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for the voice we all know from a long time, Hansi Ajoda. Thank you very much. And of course, my colleagues who are here, the MP for Faizabad, MP for Princestown, and our newest senator, but he's been there for a while, but he's still new. Senator Biko is from Point Fortin. The chairman, councillors, aldermen from the Superior Regional Corporation, and there are others also from the Penal Debut Corporation, as the alderman Brian is here, and others. And of course, distinguished ladies and gentlemen here in Cedras. But before I greet you formally, I think we should put our hands together, especially to thank Councillor Shankar Tilakse, who is your councillor in this area, for really working with the committee here to make this beautiful day happen. And we were saying, some of us, we've celebrated Indian Arrival Day before in other parts of the country. In my own constituency, most times I will go to Debe, Penal Debe, because it's part of my constituency. But we've never had the water close to us. So it was a tremendous experience, Councillor, to actually have the reenactment of the boats coming. A lot of us got wet feet and so on, but we didn't mind. So again, can we thank, it's okay, can we thank the councillor and the committee, and Panditji and his son and his grandson. I had the pleasure of holding little baby whilst I was on the boat, and I asked them to take the baby home, but they told me no, I couldn't take the baby. But maybe sometime I'll get to take a baby home, spend some time with me. So, good afternoon, everyone. Well, I can't hear you. Good afternoon. That's better. It's a great, wonderful day. A lot of sunshine, no rain. And of course, we have a fellow by the name of Ivan Tulsi. Give him a special round of applause. So Hansi, that way we'll make sure that he puts us at the top of the news. But then they have no control. They just, all of them here, give them a round of applause. It made a great effort to come from wherever to Cedras. So give the media a round of applause for following us today. I think that was really nice of them, because there are a lot of events everywhere and they could have gone to those, but they chose to come to your very beautiful village here in Cedras. So thank you for inviting me. And it was very exciting, as I say, very emotional, to witness the reenactment of the arrival. Exciting because of the significance of such an event in our history, and of course the excellent production that you have put on for us today. We cannot help but be flooded by emotions, knowing what came after those from India came to our shores 173 years ago. We know what their fate would have been. They did not know, but now, in retrospect, we know. When we look at our history, we know the historic and very horrific conditions they endured on their indentureship. We read of the struggle for survival in a very hostile environment, a strange land, a strange language, strange customs, and really, really grueling hard work. But the triumph of our ancestors through all those horrific conditions, in the face of adversity, the ability to hold on to their dreams and to keep hope alive, that is what is truly remarkable and admirable, that keeping hope alive. When that ship docked in 1845, they offloaded about 200 men, women, and children here in Trinidad. And when they landed, Barry reminded me, they prostrated themselves and they said, Jai Dharti Mata, victory to the motherland. the Hindus. And the Muslims, when they came, they did salat. And even though they were facing east, their values remain. And that is what those who came brought with them. They brought with them the holy books, the Quran, the Gita, the Ramayana especially. And of course, they brought with them a way of life. The gemstone in their crown and in ours was and remains the family. The family was foremost. And so they clung to hope, they toiled for the vision for a better future for themselves and their children, always in their hearts. It is very difficult to imagine living life like this, but they held on to their faith. They found solace in the text, the Gita, the Ramayana, the Quran, and some indeed the Bible as well. They were able to keep their culture, to keep their religions alive. Even though most of them could not read nor write, they saw the value of education through which their children could get better lives and more opportunities. We must, at a time like this, examine our history, the stories of where we were 173 years ago, and what the descendants of our ancestors have become today. Together, our forefathers helped build a nation rich in culture and proud of our diversity. Those who came from India, those who came from China, those who came from Africa, those who came out of Europe, they came and made this country their home. And our nation stands as a testament to their sacrifices, their hard work, their courage, their determination. And that is why I always say, we have come from all the great nations of the world and the great religions of the world. Trinidad and Tobago, that's why we are unique and very proud of our diversity. We came out of India, out of Africa, out of China, out of Europe and other parts of the world, but I remind you what I say every time. There is no Mother India. There is no Mother Africa. There is no Mother Asia. There is no Mother Europe. But there is Grandmother India. Yes? Grandmother China. Grandmother Africa. Grandmother Europe. And for my special friend Damien, yes, from your part of the world as well. You told me you were Dutch, so you came out of Europe. And there's Grandmother Holland as well. And for Russell Chan, who is here, yes, Chinese, there's Grandmother China as well. And Devish, there's Grandmother India. Thank you for journeying all the way down here. For each of us, we have a great history. The greatest countries in the world, our ancestors came from those, and we live together today in harmony and in diversity. There's always unity in that diversity. And you know, don't let your hearts be troubled. You know, you see sometimes things happen, people say things. I've never let what people say worry me. What worries me is to try to get more and more done in the best interest of everyone, but especially for the children of our great land. And that is why, in your area, Dr. Bodo reminded me a short while ago, I had instructed Dr. Bodo and the Southwest Regional Corporation, let us begin constructing the Point Forting Hospital. Yes? Because people here falling ill had to travel so far. Still have to, because I will not go into the politics of it, but you all know everything is on stall and on hold. And then the health center, we had instructed for it to be open for 24 hours, 24 hours per day, every day of the week. I don't know if they've rolled it back, but I trust that it is operating, so you have a health service. Those were some of the things we did not just down here in Cedras and Point. A lot of those policies were implemented across the land. And I go back then to the story of our history, and I want to remind you, let not your hearts be troubled by what people may say at a point in time. It's just at that particular point. That too shall pass. That too shall pass. So I'm not worried. And, you know, when it comes to the politics of our history, I have fought for our democracy and our freedom. That every single person, regardless of race, religion, or gender, that every person in our democracy contributes to that. And everyone has a right in a democracy to have views, freedom of expression, yes, to have freedom of voting, that you vote according to your conscience, and you are not handcuffed and you're not bound to vote in a particular way. But when the time comes, exercise your democratic right. And of course, I will say vote for me, but vote for those you think who will best represent your interests when it comes to voting. So, as I say, do not worry. God is always great as we put God in front and we walk behind in the best interests of all in Trinidad and Tobago. So, after 173 years, our ancestors then had a vision for the future. And they took decisions, they made sacrifices, they performed actions which brought success. Today, their descendants are leaders and professionals, doctors, lawyers, teachers, cooks, chefs, businessmen and women, nurses, policemen, firemen, the list goes on. In every arena of life, the descendants who came from those who landed here out of India, they have contributed in every field of human endeavor in Trinidad and Tobago. Indeed, we've had 2 prime ministers coming out of the Indo-continent, and we have had 1 person who served as president. I think, in fact, there were 2, because Mr. Ganesh Ramdiyal acted as president from time to time, and of course, the famous Nur Hassan Ali, one of our great presidents. So, we've been able to serve in every sphere. And our ancestors and those who came after laid the foundation over generations. They worked to ensure that their dream of a better life was realized. We must always, through our lives, pay tribute for their sacrifices and the love they gave us. For my own part, I have worked tirelessly to ensure that all are given opportunities to excel. So as we celebrate now 173 years of arrival, we are no longer Indians. We come from the diaspora. Indo-Trini, we say, but we are Trinbagonian. We are from Trinidad and Tobago, the land of our birth. But we have inherited a lot of great culture, a way of life through the families, through the years. We've inherited from our forefathers religion, culture, clothing. I think one of the best things we ever had, which is unique to Trinidad and Tobago, it may sound, frivolous, but it's doubles. I don't think anywhere in the world will you get the original Trini doubles. And those who are now making it outside, that was actually nurtured here in Trinidad, made in Trinidad. It was not in India. Not at all. I shared with the Indian representative the other day, High Commissioner, I said, even Dalpuri, our Paratha bus up shut, it's not from anywhere else except Trinidad and Tobago. So, Sahina too. Okay, you are promoting a particular brand, right? All right, fine. Okay, best in the world. Okay, best in the world, right here from Cedras, I guess. Yes? Zamina doubles. Anybody know Zamina? All right, give Zamina a round of applause. Zamina doubles. Amongst the best in the world. I talk of those things because it may seem like a joke or seem frivolous. You talk of food, but it is only when you are not in Trinidad. I left Trinidad 16 years old. And where I was didn't have nothing like doubles and whatever. Didn't have bake and shark and whatever. And it's only when you're not getting it, you really, really miss it. It took me 2 years. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I remember when I went abroad, the only thing I could cook was fried rice. But I learned to cook when I was in London, when I went off to study at that early age. But when you come back home, then you realize you miss the curry. Yes? You miss the doubles. There's so many things you just miss that are unique. And then every time I go to a country now, I ask them, what is your favorite food? Because in Trinidad, when they can't answer what's their favorite food, I say, when you're going abroad from your country to visit your family in Canada or in the United Kingdom or in the US, what do you carry with you? What food is in your suitcase? For us, I know, is doubles, roti, and something. Pepper sauce, some anchar, and so on. I was in St. Kitts and I asked them, what do you take when you go to visit your family in St. Kitts? I was doing a legal court case in St. Kitts some time ago with my good friend Mia Motley, by the way. We were both lawyers in the case. And what do you take? I could congratulate Mia today, my sister. And what do you take with you? They say bread. There's a particular bread. The thing is like heavy like rock. but that's their favorite thing. So food we take. We have inherited, yes, from our ancestors, but we made it uniquely Trini. We made it into what it is here. Food, our clothing, simple things that we forget. So many beautiful ladies today, and some of the gentlemen, you know, who put their attire on. Let's congratulate all those who came out in their authentic wear today. But above all, the food, the clothing, the music. Rana and Suzanne Mohip, they will perform for you. Give them a round of applause. Yes. Yes, those are great things that make you a people, but the greatest of all, I think we have got from our ancestors, has been family values and family traditions. So that whatever we do and wherever we go, there is that bonding and that love of family that we share and we carry. And if the family as an institution collapses or breaks or cracks, then the society becomes dysfunctional. And that is what we are seeing in some places today, where that emphasis on family life is being broken down. And we need to get back that, because if the family is strong, the village then becomes stronger, the community is even stronger, and then the country as a whole will stay together. So I thank you for celebrations today. Hansley, Councillor Shankar told me it has sort of died down, and therefore that you have regenerated this today. I think it's a rejuvenated. Please do not let it stop again and continue. And let us pay special tribute to a son of your soil, former Councillor Manmohansingh. Please give him a round of applause. He was very instrumental in the park. In fact, the park is named after him. He was a great soul and still remains a very great soul. Hansi, adopted son of Cedras, thank you for your welcome. I think we have to stop meeting this way, because we just keep meeting when there's a function, and you're on stage and I'm on off stage. But Hansi has done a tremendous job for Trinidad and Tobago as well. And I see you've brought your friend Kiran. I see Kiran in the background as well. Thank you all for being here. To my own dear husband, who doesn't really go very far, doesn't go much. Thank you for joining me in Cedras today. Let's give him a round of applause. May God continue to bless you. And if I may just venture, because we are close to the water, about boats. Can I speak a little about boats? I noticed that the Prime Minister returned yesterday and is talking about buying 2 ferries and buying another Coast Guard vessel. Listen, sir. Someone in national security is not speaking or not giving you information. There is no conspiracy. Seek and ye shall find. Ask and you shall be answered. You have 12 Daemon sea vessels. We have the long-range patrol vessel out of China. All of these were purchased by the government island. You do not need any more Coast Guard vessels, sir. You have 12, brand new. You know what is the problem? Those who are in charge, your 3 ministers of national security, they are not maintaining those vessels. I'm being told they're not maintaining them, they're not even providing enough fuel. So it is not a fault of the Coast Guard. It's the fault of yourself and your government in not replenishing the supplies that are needed. You have 12 boats. Why you want to buy another one? Can you tell the country why, when you have 12? And why do you keep talking about OPVs? OPVs would have been so far out offshore, because they can't come anywhere near the coast, that all the bandits would already reach shore before that OPV could even see them. That is what the Daemon vessels were about. They're different ranges, different speeds. They can totally lock down all the borders of Trinidad and Tobago. So please ask your national security advisors and your 3 ministers of national security, and do not go and spend more money on vessels for the Coast Guard, but use the one that we already have, that taxpayers are already paying for, and get up and running and lock down our borders, and let us try to put an end to this crime situation in our country. So that's the one advice I will give to the Honorable Prime Minister. I understand he's in Tobago. I wish him a happy Indian arrival day. I trust that he will arrive again in Trinidad. May God bless you all. May God bless Trinidad and Tobago. Ansley, thank you very much. He said no one invited him.
If our Honorable Leader of the Opposition can just hold on. We've got a token of appreciation here for you, ma'am, from the committee. It's a beautiful orchid grown right here in Cedras. Mrs. Bissessar planted okras, tomatoes, baigan and tomato and pepper plants yesterday. A token of appreciation. Let me just call on Rahul of Traditions of India. Rahul, Traditions of India. Mrs. Yeah. And Rahul of Traditions of India, he's a citizen of India and he's making a presentation now. Here's the baby that Mrs. Bissessar wanted. Yeah. And what a noble baby. Baby Ganesh. Yeah. Baby Ganesh. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, Senior Counsel, SC. We've got some other speeches in a moment. Let me ask members of the band to come up. We'll just get some entertainment before we go to our first citizen, Ms. Dr. Glenn Ramadas Singh, Chairman of the Siparia Regional Corporation. We'll be here also hearing from our councillor, Mr. Shankar Tilak Singh, in a moment. But maybe we could get a little... And we've got a dance item that's coming up in just a bit. We'll just hold on as Mrs. Bissessar makes her way to a seat. All right. And Mrs. Bissessar has to go to another function. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and let's thank her. I can't read lips. Yeah. Mrs. Bissessar, just to let you know before you go, ma'am, as the Education Minister, you opened, and as Prime Minister, you opened an early childhood care center up here. It's now overgrown. The Ministry of Education has chosen to discontinue that early childhood care center in Cedras. So if you could speak to them. Yes, ma'am?
Thank you for bringing it to my attention. You know what we have to do? We have to get back into government so we can open all these things that they have shut down.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to ask members of the media, we'll actually guide you to take some photographs, and please take the opportunity to show that early childhood care center tonight on television or in the newspapers in the morning. And of course that bridge, which has not been open for quite some time. It's been sitting there for how long now? 2 years? 3 years? Something like that. As Mrs. Bissessar makes her way out, ladies and gentlemen, please give her a round of applause for coming down here. She is going to traverse the length and breadth of Trinidad, visiting different regions. Mrs. Bissessar, by the way, food has been prepared. I even made a very special fish broth for you, courtesy Mrs. Eileen Maharaj. So I hope that you'll get a little bit of that before you leave. And please guide Mrs. Bissessar to Mrs. Maharaj's compound. With this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a dance item coming up as we return to the stage. And I'm hoping that they can take Mrs. Bissessar for a meal that's been prepared for her at the compound of Mrs. Eileen Maharaj, Mr. Prano Maharaj. We've got some entertainment coming up. Dr. Surudratan Ramachan, our guest speaker, is also going to be here in just a moment. The Member of Parliament for Tabakeet and former Minister of Works, former Mayor of Chaguanas. Yeah. All right. Sunanda Mohip is going to take the spotlight right now, and she's coming up here. She, of course, is the daughter of the incredible Rana Mohip and, of course, his extraordinary wife, who is an icon and certainly a legend here in Trinidad and Tobago. We know who we're talking about. Baby Susan, as we affectionately called her so many years ago. Well, she's got her own baby now that's going to be taking the stage to entertain you here. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Sunanda Mohip.
सुख दुख झूठे धन भी झूठा झूठी मोह माया सच्चा मन का वो
a celebration, but it's a celebration in reflection of a sacrifice that today we find it very hard to give to our nation, to our people, and to our generations. Would you imagine, I remember once that we had in an emergency to look for my grandmother, and she planted cane. And at 72 years old, we, to find her, had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and meet her at 4:30, all wrapped up in clothes to protect her from the sun. You could not recognize her. She had to unravel pieces of her wraps all around her head because she would be burnt at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And they would return at 11 o'clock to cook lunch and then begin their duties after lunch. Who and where do we see that type of sacrifice today in Trinidad and Tobago? Our children want the best phone. They want fast food. They want everything they see on television. They are not willing to sacrifice as our forefathers. We pay homage. We pay respect. And if you are to visit India and you have to walk in the streets, you would thank God Almighty that your forefathers came here. We live a superior life to those who live in India, and we are very happy of the sacrifices that have been made. We are a blessed people, and you would notice that we are at the sea. The people who migrated from Calcutta lived